Have you ever seriously thought, when can I actually stop working? I don't mean retiring at 65. I mean true financial freedom, maybe even decades early. Well, today we're cracking open the formula from Kim Kiyosaki, who, with her husband Robert, was financially free by age 37. And let me tell you, it has absolutely nothing to do with just saving 10% of your paycheck. For a lot of us, the traditional career path just feels shaky, right? You work your tail off, you play by the rules, but that whole promise of a secure retirement, it's starting to feel more and more like a fairy tale. Is that 9 to 5 really the safe bet it was supposed to be? Kim Kiyosaki would argue it's time for a major reality check.
And this right here, this is the core of everything we're talking about today. This quote from Kim is the foundation of her entire philosophy. It's not about just handing your future over to some financial advisor or your boss. It's about taking total personal control of your own financial destiny.
So, why doesn't the old advice work anymore? Let's get right into it. The financial playbook our parents and grandparents followed, it's just completely outdated for the world we're living in now.
I mean, think about it. The old way was super predictable. You got a guaranteed pension, you probably had a job for life, and you retired at 65. Simple. But now, that now column looks a whole lot more chaotic. Company pensions are basically dinosaurs. We're all changing jobs every few years, and that retirement age just keeps getting pushed back. That question mark at the end, that's the uncertainty that keeps so many of us up at night.
Kim Kiyosaki actually calls the traditional advice, just put your money in a 401k, not just boring, but dangerous. And when you break it down, you can see why. You're getting low returns that can barely keep up with inflation. You've got high fees just eating away at your money. And there's a very real risk that your savings run out before you do. The bottom line is relying on just that is a huge, huge gamble.
Okay, so if the old rules are broken, what's the new rule book? Well, for Kim, it all starts with a massive shift in how you think about work and security. It all begins with an entrepreneurship mindset. You gotta hear her personal story. She was actually fired from her first 2 jobs, basically because she hated being told what to do. But that experience, it didn't break her. It lit a fire under her. It created this intense drive for real freedom. Not just freedom from a boss, but freedom from depending on a spouse or even the government to feel secure. Now, this is a total mind flip, right? We're all taught that a steady paycheck is job security. But Kim says it's the exact opposite. See, when you rely on one employer, you have a single point of failure. But when you create your own income streams, you build a foundation that you control. That, she says, is the best job security on the planet. So, we've talked about the problem. We've talked about the mindset. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts, the real secret that separates the wealthy from, well, everyone else. And it all comes down to one little concept: cash flow. First, let's talk about what most of us think investing is. It's capital gains. You buy a stock, you buy a house, you hope and pray the market goes up, and then you sell it for one-time profit. And hey, it can work, but it's basically speculation. You have to sell your asset to see any money, and you are completely at the mercy of the market. But this is different. This is the real goal. Cash flow is the money that an asset puts in your pocket every single month, whether you work or not, and without you having to sell the asset. Think rental income, stock dividends, business profits. It's money that is literally working for you instead of the other way around. So you've really got 2 paths here. On one side, you've got capital gains. It's a one-time payout, it's completely dependent on the market, and your goal is to get one big lump sum of cash. On the other side, you've got cash flow. That's recurring income that you manage, and the goal isn't a single payday. It's a continuous, reliable stream of income. One is a gamble, the other is a system. So how do you use this whole cash flow idea to actually become free? It all boils down to one surprisingly simple yet life-changing formula. And there you have it. That's it. That's the whole secret. When your monthly cash flow from your assets is bigger than your monthly living expenses, you are financially free. Period. You no longer need a job to live. See, it's not about having millions of dollars sitting in a bank account. It's about having enough passive income to cover your life. And this isn't some pie-in-the-sky theory. This is exactly how Kim and Robert did it. They started in 1989. By 1994, just 5 years later, their monthly cash flow hit $10,000, while their expenses were only $3,000. Boom. Just like that, they were free. Kim retired at 37, not to stop working, but so she could finally work on things she actually loved. And you have to see this number. Her entire journey to becoming a multimillionaire and achieving financial freedom,
It started with just $25 a month. That's it. That was the tiny profit from her very first rental property. It just goes to show you, you don't need a fortune to start. You just need to start. Okay, so you get the concept, but how do you actually put this into practice without getting burned? Well, Kim lays out 4 golden rules that are pretty much non-negotiable for anyone who wants to build wealth this way.
So here are her golden rules. Number 1, always invest for cash flow, not just hoping the price goes up. 2, you have to educate yourself. If you don't get the language, if you don't understand how it works, just stay away. 3, know your numbers. You have to understand the income, the expenses, the risks, the potential returns. The numbers tell you the real story. And finally, number 4, which brings us right back to the beginning. Never, ever blindly turn your money over to someone else. You have to be the one in charge of your own future.
This quote really just brings it all home, doesn't it? The goal isn't just to have more money. The real goal is the freedom, the empowerment that comes from knowing you can depend on the systems that you built. That is what's truly liberating. So, the big takeaway here is that financial freedom isn't some far-off dream. It's a formula. It starts with getting educated, adopting that entrepreneurial mindset, and focusing on cash flow. And it can start small, remember? Just like Kim's $25 a month. So the question this explainer really leaves you with is this: what could be your first cash flow asset?